welcome to It Is What It Is, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Shaw Marie, and I hope everybody had an amazing Halloween. It was really weird this year. In Idaho, we did a bunch of weird different stuff. There was a bunch of drive-through trick-or-treats and stuff, so that was really weird. But it was still pretty fun. There's this cute little place here that you can go get pumpkins and shit from. It's this cute, adorable red barn place. And they had a shindig on Halloween and they shot candy out of a cannon, even though it was so hard that some of the candy literally shot out of its wrappers. So, I mean, it was fun for the children. There was slides, a train ride. I mean, it was just shenanigans for everyone. Waited 30 minutes for a churro and another hour and 30 at a burger shack. So the food portion of it sucked and took forever. But the rest of it was really fun. It was super entertaining, I should say, and new. It was weird. It was a lot better than what I thought Halloween was going to be. So for that, I am grateful. So hopefully everybody else had a good Halloween too. I know in California where my sister is, they weren't supposed to go trick-or-treating or anything. So I have yet to figure out what they did. But I don't know. I'm so over this whole COVID thing that I can hardly stand it. My sweet little 6-year-old asked me yesterday, what are they going to do for Santa Claus? Is Santa Claus still going to be here? Or is Santa Claus not coming because of the virus too? And it's like, what do I tell this poor little child? That you're not going to be able to see Santa Claus? Oh, my Atlanta. I'm so sick of it. So sick of it. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Bitching about that. Everybody's like, oh, it's going back to normal. Idaho just got put back into the red again. So, I mean, it's just a shit show. The masks are horrible. Face is dry all the time. Got acne. I've never had acne in my life. Now I do. Where my mask goes. It's caca. So just troubles, you know? But gosh, let's get to some true crime, shall we? And on the 30th of October, the day before Halloween, Chad Daybell. Ugh. Yes, Chad Daybell was back in court because Mr. Wood wanted to combine Chad and Lori's court together, and Lori did not object. She was, from what I am assuming and guessing, quite tickled pink that she's going to be able to spend some time. I was going to say one-on-one time, maybe in holding, maybe at lunch, who knows, but some FaceTime with her man, her husband, her criminal counterpart. And so her trial is supposed to begin on April 2nd. So since the judge did combine the two, I'm assuming that's when it's going to start roughly. But Chad, good old Chad, he's going to be back in court again in November on the 24th because Mr. Pryor is asking for a dismissal of all charges against good old Chad. So that's weird. And also, he is going to ask that the trial be moved out of Fremont County. So, I mean, I don't really know where he thinks he's going to go in the great state of Idaho that everybody doesn't know about this nonsense. So I don't really know. I mean, and Chad's been in jail since June, I believe. So, yeah, like June 9th or 10th. I want to say 9th. I feel more comfortable with the 9th. So he's been in jail for a hot second, but Lori's coming up on a whole year in jail because she's been in jail since February 20th. So the fact that Mr. Pryor is gonna go in front of a judge and be like, hey, dismiss this, blows my mind, because when he went in front of a judge on the 30th and was like, we don't want our trial to be with Lori. We want to be separate, because one of his arguments was, he was like, she gets more press than he gets. And it's like, but I don't know. Lori was cool with it. Chad's like, I don't think so, which blows my mind, because there's no way that they both, in my opinion, equally get the same amount of press. And Mr. Wood is 100% correct. There's no reason for two trials. People from Hawaii, Arizona, Utah, maybe even as far as Texas, having to come all the way in the state, paying for them to come here for two different trials is fucking ridiculous. And they did it together. Like, you conspired together to do this. Now, everybody still is like, oh, the murder charges, the murder charges. I really truly believe that they are still coming down the line. I really do. I think we obviously don't know everything, because there's no way we can until trial, obviously. But I'm sure we can all agree that they did it together, with Alex, of course. But I was listening to a crime news outlet thing on YouTube, and they brought up a really good thing, and I want to ask you guys what you guys think. Why do you guys think the children were murdered and disposed of in two completely different ways? And the guy was kind of right. I mean, there's obviously no respectful way to murder a child, but JJ was almost respectfully buried. You know what I mean? And like, by respectfully, I mean they didn't do anything to his remains. That's what I mean. I don't mean like they said a prayer or like it was respectful or anything like that. That's not what I meant. And why Tylee had such a horrific ending, it blows my mind. Those two things ever since I watched that show and they said it, I've been trying to think in like I always come back to, like, the only thing I can think of was he was easier. But then people are like, maybe JJ was drugged, and I even thought that. I still do. But you could easily drug her too. So, like, that really doesn't explain why. Because if that was the reason why JJ died, and we still don't know the exact cause of death. So, for all we know, he was drugged and then smothered. But you could have easily done the same to her and just buried her as well. You know? So that, and still, they're blaming the actual murderers, I believe, on Alex. But I don't know. Because when it comes to, like, the actual disposing of them, you would assume Lori wasn't there. And the only reason you would assume that is because Tammy was still alive and they were at his house. You know what I mean? So why? Why? There's so many whys that it drives me insane. But we move on. And you guys wanted an update about them, so that's what I gave you, is we're going to go to trial together. The room is going to smell very musky and gross. And, I mean, these people used to fucking get down to spiritual closets. Can you only imagine what kind of gross things are going to be vibing off of them while in court? Ugh. It's going to show a lot of her, though. Her lawyer's going to have to put it through her head a lot that, Mr. Means, that you don't want to look like you love this man more than you regret the fact that your children are dead. You know what I mean? You can't look at him with those PQ eyes and then be like, oh, I'm sad my kids are dead. You know? Like, you can't give sexy eyes to the guy that you, quote unquote, helped conspire with in getting rid of your children. So I don't know. We shall see what will happen. Very interested, of course, I'm very interested. So we'll see. We might even do like a live coverage of that, to be honest, and do like live video of that whole thing on like the YouTube or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But there you go. There's your update. So really not much of an update. The only thing that's really happened is the fact that they're now going to go to court together, which I think should have been happening this whole fucking time. So that's just me. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Nothing new is really going on. We're going to do a very small viewer appreciation where we'll do some reviews and whatnot. It's very small though. Shouldn't be too long. And then there's a couple other stories I want to hit you guys with this week. Last week I took a day off, so that's why there wasn't two last week. My ankle was so swollen and hurt so bad I could literally barely move without crying, so I had to take a day. But yeah, so we'll see. I'll inform you guys of more stuff later on. But for now, that's the update. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube. It is what it is, a true crime podcast. On Twitter, it is what it is, 208, because that's where I'm from. On Instagram, the name has changed. It is what it is, pod 208, because that's where I'm from. And I've been waiting for a 208 to open up for that forever. And it finally was. So I took it. So yeah, follow me, subscribe, all that fun jazz. And I will tell you guys more stuff later on. Bye, guys. Have a good week.